All right, welcome back to the Fit Focus Forum. This is where we take the complexity out of fitness and put the focus back on action. So we give high achieving professionals, the ones juggling 40 to 50-hour work weeks, constant travel, and maybe a little bit of low key burnout, the precise strategies they need to own their fitness without sacrificing their sanity. So I'm your host, Russell, and today we're moving away from sets and reps to talk about something far more powerful, the language of transformation. We're going to look at the words that you use, the stories you tell yourself, and how your internal narrative is either the engine of your success or the anchor that's holding you back. If you've ever felt like you're doing all of the right things, but your mind is still working against you, this is for you. So let's get into it. Language isn't just how we communicate with others, it's how we program ourselves. Most of the high performers I work with are incredibly articulate and strategic at work, but when it comes to their fitness and their internal dialogue, it's a disaster. They use words like failure, lazy, and broken, or what's wrong with me. I hear that one a lot. This isn't just harmless venting. Your brain is always listening to you. It takes the labels you give it and it turns them into your reality. So, if you tell yourself you're a failed dieter because you had one off meal plan, your brain starts looking for more evidence to support that identity. It stops looking for solutions. It starts looking for an exit strategy, right? Transformation doesn't start with a new workout plan. It actually starts with an audit of your vocabulary. Interesting to think about that. When we have to move away from the binary of good and bad, this is the most common trap for perfectionist professionals. You're either on the wagon or you're off the wagon. You're either crushing it all the time or you're a disaster. So this binary language creates fragile psychology. And the moment a meeting runs late and you miss a workout, the bad label kicks in. And then once you feel bad, you stop caring. We need to replace these moral judgments with objective strategic language. So instead of saying, I failed my diet today, which is the easy way out, right? We can say, I had a meal that wasn't aligned with my goals. Why did that happen? And what is the next best move? One is a dead end, and the other one is a data point. This brings us to the power of yet, right? So this is the smallest word with the biggest impact. And it's a really cool strategy if you're having trouble getting yourself out of the negative mindset. So I'm not strong is a fixed statement that closes the door on growth. I'm not strong yet implies that strength is a destination you're currently traveling towards. See how that works? I think this is actually one of my favorite things when it comes to negative self-talk because I know someone like me who struggles with anxiety and depression. Most of the time, the anxiety is what gives me most of my negative self-talk. And I want to tell you guys, I'm like all of you, like I do negative self-talk almost daily. I do my best to make sure that I am gratitude journaling and meditating and doing all of the things that I need to do to bring my brain back to where it needs to be. But this shift right here with the word yet is one of the biggest tools that I use. All right. When it comes to me really trying to twist the way that I'm thinking about myself. All right. What it does is it shifts your brain from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Right. So when you're struggling with a new habit or a difficult lift, add yet to the end of your complaints. It keeps the narrative moving forward. It reminds you that fitness is a skill that you're acquiring, and it's not a trait that you either have or you don't have. Nobody started at the top. And a lot of us will walk into the room and a gym and see a lot of people that look like they know what they're doing, that they've been working out for years. It's intimidating to some people, a lot of people, even myself, all right, when I was younger and before I got into this and learned everything I needed to learn. And that's where a lot of our negative self-talk comes from. So, taking that negative thought and immediately rewording it with the yet is just a great strategy to get you through those situations. So we also need to talk about the I have to versus the I get to shift. This is another one of my favorites as well. As a high achiever, your life is full of obligations. I have to finish this report. I have to pick up my husband. I have to go to the gym. I have to put on more clients, right? I have to finish the work for this client. I can't take a vacation when I want to. because I'm so busy with my personal business. When fitness becomes another have to, on top of that, it becomes another source of stress, another item on the to-do list that drains your battery. So when you shift to I get to, you acknowledge the privilege of health. You get to move your body, you get to build strength, you get to invest in your future self. So this isn't just positive thinking, it's a fundamental recalibration of your relationship with your body. One is a chore, the other one is a reward. So let's look at the labels that we wear, right? Many of you are still carrying labels from 20 years ago. I was a fat kid. I'm not an athlete. I'm just not a morning person. That actually changes, I think, as you get older. My husband and I were just joking about that this morning, how we're going to wake up tomorrow at probably 7 a.m., even though it's a Saturday. But the point of this is that these are just ghost stories. They aren't real, but they haunt your current progress. You have the power to write a new script. You can choose to be someone who prioritizes their health or someone who values consistency over perfection. You don't need to wait for the scale to change the label. Okay. You change the label first and the scale follows. You act like the person you want to become until the evidence becomes undeniable. Fake it until you make it, right? So finally, we need to address the silence. Sometimes the most toxic language is the one we don't even hear because it's so ingrained and constant. It's the low-level hum of self-criticism that plays in the background of your day. This is why we use tools like the self-talk audit. This is something that we just put together that I'm going to drop into the chat when we're done. And it will be in the comments if you're watching this on the replay. We bring those thoughts into the light, we write them, all right, objectively, all right, and we change the narrative by taking the power, all right. You stop being the victim of your thoughts and start being the director of your story. Like I said, we're going to share the link to that self-talk audit when we're done with the presentation. But that is the essence of the language of transformation. You are the author of your own experience. If you don't like the plot, change the dialogue. Stop using words that shrink you and start using language that expands your potential. You have the discipline to lead teams, clients, build projects for your company. It's time you use that same intentionality with the way that you speak to yourself. It's time to stop being your own worst critic and start being your most effective coach. If you are ready to stop the cycle of self-sabotage and start building a narrative that actually supports your goals, your next move is simple. It's your turn. If you're watching this on the replay, comment my turn below and someone from our team will reach out to you so that we can start a conversation so we can get you speaking better about yourself right from the very start. All right. So that is the language of transformation. Thank you guys very much for watching this today. Let's always make sure that we're rewriting the script together. Thanks for joining the Fit Focus Forum. We'll be back with another one really soon. And I really appreciate the people that are coming back and watching this over and over again. And of course, all of my clients that are attending these calls. We always have a discussion afterwards and watching the replays in our app. We do these twice a month, so I look forward to seeing you guys again.